Hey guys, it's Rick. Welcome back to the channel. Today is our one palette pretties video. So I've got my color cubes out and we are going to pick a random color from one of these cubes. This is cube number 1. We're going to go to cube number 2 today because we haven't picked anything from it. And if you're unfamiliar with the color cube, it has all these palettes of different color palettes you can pick from. I'm just going to kind of randomly pick one. If I can get it out. All right, so that's going to be our color palette. And instead of my Ohuhu markers, I'm going to color with my alcohol markers. Acrylic markers from Altenew. And I'm going to use because this was on the desk, the Morning Glory stamp set from Altenew. So, I think we can pick colors from here easily that will match or come close. So we need the yellow. And we'll need the pink here, and that pink. And then it looks like our closest thing to our purple is probably going to be this one. It's about the closest. On the back you do have the, well, we can go with that because that would be the shadow of it. So we can go with that. For our little blue, I think we're going to go a little off script and probably use one of these. Navy's going to be too dark. We're going to go with this lighter blue color. Got our yellow, we got our pinks. And we're going to use that to switch the gray out for the cool gray, it says, for this turquoisey gray. And then we're going to use that dark blue purple for our purple color. And we're going to get our stamp wheel and stamp this image out. I'm actually going to put this in the corner because I'm going to probably re-stamp it also. So I'm going to stamp this in a gray ink. Because at this point I just need it to be where I can see it. Because we will stamp, after we color it, we will stamp over it again with a darker ink, black ink. All right, here's our flower all stamped out. We're going to color it with our markers. So I'm going to leave that in position so I can come back to it and re-stamp this once we get it all colored and dried. So we're going to start off with our pink, our darkest pink, and we're just going to pick one of our Morning Glories. And we're just going to come around and fill this in. This is the Puffy Heart color. I am making sure while I'm coloring I have a very light hand so that I'm not scrubbing the fibers of the paper. I don't want to make any of them peel. So I'm just going to fill these in. I am going to switch this out with a different marker as I'm sitting here looking at the colors. We're going to switch it out with the cloudy sky instead. It's not quite an exact match, but it is a gray. So I think that'll be a little bit better. It is close enough. So you can always switch up your colors if you need to. This is the coral pink marker. You can see I'm just outlining, making sure to stay in the line. And then I'm just filling in the rest of it with a very light hand. I do plan on die cutting this out. So I have an idea for a fun background. So I'm just going to fill this in. I'm trying to decide if I want to do this in white, the outline, or if I want to go ahead and stamp it in black. I think we will be able to stamp it in black and it'd be okay. We're just filling in. This is about the easiest coloring you can do. So I'm going to speed this up and finish up the coloring process. All right, so that's all the coloring. Now we're going to pull the stamp wheel back in because this is going to need to dry for a little bit. We're going to place it right back in our stamp wheel. I'm going to take my image, put that on top. I'm going to get my Obsidian pigment ink. line this up. Looks like I was just a tiny bit off. So we'll add some highlights to that when that completely dries. While that is drying, we are going to work on our background. I just picked a blue color that is very similar to my cool gray on my color palette. All right, so I'm going to pull in the stencil that came in with the monthly kit that I get from Altenew. It's the Build a Garden kit. I think this was last month's kit. I'm going to take the two pink shades of the acrylic markers and the yellow shade, and I'm going to fill in those little lines that are on that stencil. The stencil actually makes a fence, and I'm just going to use that part of the fence that makes the little spigots, and I'm going to make a striped pattern down one side of the cardstock. That way, it's going to give me, I get more use from the stencil, plus I am able to create a geometric design on my card front with ease. And I'm just going to come in, keep rotating the colors. I started out with the lightest pink and went with yellow and then the darkest pink, and then just repeated each step. And I'm going to fill in all the way down, letting the stencil do the work for me. I do go back and clean the stencil after everything's done, and I just use alcohol for that. You do want to make sure that each layer is dry before you move on. I'm just lining the stencil up back here so that I can continue on with my color combination. And I start again, it's the dark pink, the light pink, then the yellow, and then just rinse and repeat. That's all it is. So I'm just filling in this, it ends up being the left hand side, but I actually end up changing this at the end. I decided I didn't like the blue as this with this design on it, and I went back and changed it to white and just repeated it off camera. You'll see that at the end of the video, so make sure you hang out so you can see what that looks like. Now I'm just going to dry that ink, the acrylic ink markers. I'm just going to dry that with my heat tool, make sure it's nice and dry. And then I'm going to come in and touch up any areas that it might have got a little smearing, like right there. So I'm just going to come back and give it a second coat so it's nice and opaque, just like we're doing right here. And I'm just going to continue on down the line, touching up any areas that need to be touched up. You can take the stormy sky marker and straighten it up. I'm going to take a T-ruler and the ultraviolet and draw a line, 2 lines actually, down the edge of that piece of cardstock so that it cleans up any edges and it gives me a nice clean look. Now I'm going to also take and go ahead and cut this panel down to what I thought I was going to use it for. I thought I was going to cut it down to just 4 by 5 1/4, but I ended up taking this down to 3 7/8 at the end by 5 1/8. So it's 3 7/8 by 5 1/8 for my ended up at the very end. So I'm going to go ahead and just clean up any more little lines that needed another coat. That's one of the things with these markers, you might have to come back and do a second and even a third coat to get the opaqueness that you want and the brightness. So don't be afraid to come back. Here we're going to go back and do our pink one more time. The lightest pink, and I'm just going to go right over there because they do dry back a little bit. Now I'm going to come in with my T-ruler, and I ended up doing a white line right beside this one just to break it up a little bit. But again, like I said, I ended up flipping this over and not using this side, which was perfectly fine. You never know until you try something, so don't be afraid to try something different. You don't know if it's going to work or not. Now I'm going to come in and add some highlights with that white paint marker. All right, now that our card front is done, and all I did was use the stencil and just draw the lines and add more lines with my ruler. I'm coming in with the white marker and adding just a little from highlights here and there. I can also fill in any spots that were messed up. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out with the coordinating die. I think we need to change the blue. So I'm going to do that and switch that out. All right, now we're going to stamp our sentiment. I went back and changed the card front to a white with the stripes, and I like that a lot better. So I'm going to stamp my sentiment. We've already die cut the Morning Glory out, so I'm going to place that kind of where I want it. And take my sentiment that says you deserve the very best. And actually, we're going to end up having this come off, so we can cut some of that off. Take my stamp wheel, pick that up, and I'm going to stamp this in obsidian ink. All right, since that's a pigment ink, that's going to need a second to dry. I'll heat set that. I'm going to go ahead and clean this. Here's my A2 size top folding card base. I'm just making sure it's the right size. Go. All right, I'm going to layer this panel onto this piece of that blue cardstock I had. It's just the one that I had before. We're just going to layer that on. Just using liquid glue. And then we're going to layer our Morning Glory up with foam tape. Double check this card base. Be right back. Thought it looked slightly off, so I had to go back and adjust that. All right, let's pull in our foam tape. This is Altenew's ultra sticky foam tape. And believe me, it is ultra sticky. So I'm just going to put a few pieces behind there. Let's see, where is it going to hang off? Need just a couple more little pieces. All right, we'll go ahead and peel the backings off. All right, to finish this off, I'm going to add some Tonic Aqua Shimmer Pen. That way it gives us just a little bit of sparkle. On our Morning Glories. Which are super cute. And since this dries opaque and matte, we're going to add some glitter to the leaves as well. All right, that is our card. I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for joining me for the card that almost wasn't. All right, bye guys. There is our color palette. I will see you in the next video. Bye guys, love you.